You are listening to Arirang Radio's Wonders of Jeju. This is a segment where we tell you about the lives of people living right here on the island. I'm your host, AK. This is Humans of Jeju. Hello.
First Humans of Jeju for 2024.
Oh yes.
Yes, it's a new year.
Yeah, new year. Happy New Year.
Yes,
Wow.
Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's, everybody.
Right. I didn't recognize because since Monday, since Tuesday, we say like Happy New Year, Happy New Year.
Yes.
And why don't I feel like it's the first like Humans of Jeju of this year
Right.
with you?
Well, actually, I'm having a hard time writing the date. Every time I write the date, I keep writing 2023.
Right.
And then you have to erase it and then do it again.
Right.
So,
I mean, I don't know for you, but it takes a little bit of time for me to get used to this new year.
oh, yeah,
Right?
yeah. And
Every
then
time, like
by the time you get used to it, it's another new year.
yeah. Okay, so let's talk about today's Humans of Jeju.
Yes, so let's listen to today's Human of Jeju.
Okay.
안녕하세요. 저는 김경숙 작가입니다. 현재 제주 서귀포시 남원읍에 거주하고 있고요. 제가 살고 있는 마을은 조금 작은 마을입니다. 거기서 이제 3년 조금 지나가고 있고요. 50대고요. 이전에는 아내였고 엄마였습니다. 제주에 오면서 제가 독립선언을 하고 홀로 넘어왔거든요. 그래서 홀로 서기를 지금 배우고 있고 하루하루 저 자신을 위해서 살아가는 시간들을 가지기 위해서 고군분투하고 있습니다. 네.
All right, tell us, please.
Yes, so today's Human of Jeju that we'll introduce is artist Kim Kyung-suk. She currently lives in a small village in the Namwon-up area of Seogwipo City. And it's been a little over 3 years since she came to Jeju Island. By her appearance, you wouldn't be able to guess her age, but she's actually in her 50s.
Wow.
So before, she mentioned she used to be a wife and a mother, but when she came to Jeju, she says she declared independence, learning to stand on her own and struggling day by day, dedicating time for herself.
So the introduction, seems like she has a very special story. I mean, within that, life lived as a woman in Korea kind of makes me, even more curious. How did she end up in Jeju?
So first, let's hear it directly from her.
Great.
저희 아이가 2014년도에 중학 입학하던 시기에 갑자기 희귀병 판정을 받게 됐어요. 그 제1형 당뇨라고 췌장이 기능을 할 수 없어서 바깥에서 인슐린을 주입을 해야 하니까 어느 순간부터 생활의 중심이 혈당이라는 거예요. 그 아이 같은 경우에는 자기 인생에서 찾아온 그 불행이 학교에서 단 한 명밖에 없었거든요. 그러니까 심리적으로 굉장히 문제가 생기더라고요. 중학교 3학년 되었을 때 선생님이 외부에서 상담을 이제 해보라고 말씀을 하셔서 심리상담센터를 한 1년 정도 아이를 데리고 다녔거든요. 그러면서 아이는 좋아졌는데 저는 참아야 할 게 더 많아지는 거예요. 아이가 20대가 되고 어느 날 이제 자기의 몸에 관해서 자기가 통제하겠다 이렇게 말을 하더라고요. 제가 그걸 아이한테 다 넘겨주고 나니까 제 안에 굉장한 공허함이나 식구들을 기다리고 있는데 제가 마치 의자인 것처럼 느낌이 들어서 상담도 받고 했는데도 상태가 좋아지지가 않고 그런 마음의 상태가 계속 지속이 되니까 당시 코로나로 심해서 제가 갈 수 있는 최장거리의 비행기를 바로 예약을 하고 짐을 싸서 다음날 바로 제주로 날아오는 비행기를 탔습니다.
All right, please.
Yes, so currently she mentioned her child is a college student in her 20s. When her child entered middle school about 10 years ago in 2014, she was suddenly diagnosed with a rare disease, which is type 1 diabetes. Where the pancreas cannot function properly and requiring constant blood glucose level regulation and insulin injections. So she mentioned that the entire family had to manage the child's diet and administer insulin from the outside, monitor blood glucose level in real time, And her life really revolved around adapting to the child's condition all the time.
Oh my gosh. So the center of her life became, her child's care, right? So for any parents, like nothing is more important than, their children's health. But it must have been even more challenging at the time, considering the child was going through like adolescence.
Yes. So her daughter having to endure such an illness since adolescence, she mentioned her child became very angry, wondering why such a thing has happened to her. It was especially difficult for her because she was the only one in school with such condition, and not being able to understand why all this had happened to her, the child struggled, and about a year later she was even diagnosed with hyperthyroidism. Then when the child reached the third year of middle school, the homeroom teacher called her mother to inform that the child's mental state was actually in danger. She said that her daughter had frequently mentioned the word suicide in an essay. So upon the teacher's recommendation, she attended external psychological counseling with her child for about a year. And she said her child from there gradually improved. But she, on the other hand, started to really feel exhausted. And living a life centered around the child's illness and schedule, when her child became 20-year-old, she declared that one day she declared that she would manage her own body on her own. So she said that was when she began to feel the emptiness of life.
It makes actually sense, when the most important thing like you thought about, suddenly disappears, right? So, questions like, who am I? Like, what am I living for? Like, why am I here? It must have confronted her.
Yes, you're right. And she mentioned that she felt like she became a chair waiting for her family all the time. So she went through a difficult period, experiencing a sense of emptiness, even receiving psychological counseling herself. She said she even suffered from alopecia areata, but even after visiting hospitals, there were no signs of improvement. So at that time, there was also severe outbreak of the COVID-19 in the region where she lived, which was Daegu. And it was a time when all Koreans abroad were returning to Korea. So feeling the need to go somewhere since she couldn't go abroad, she looked for the farthest place from where she lived. And that was Jeju Island. So she booked a flight, and next day she said she flew to Jeju.
Wow, that's quite a story. So Jeju seems to, have become an escape route and, breathing kind of space for her. I'm curious about what unfolded in the second part of her life. So today we've been discussing the story of painter artist Kim Kyung-suk, and she's an active artist, right, in Jeju. So before coming to Jeju, she played the roles of wife and a mother in a family, and now she lives on Jeju, pursuing her realization as Kim Kyung-suk herself, right? And I found that she's currently exhibiting her work, under the nickname pen name, 꿈꾸는 구슬, meaning dreaming marble. I'm curious about, the reason behind such name.
Yes, so that was a question related to her identity. So let's hear it from her first.
Great.
오래전부터 저는 구슬이라는 그 단어를 너무 좋아했거든요. 구슬이라는 물체도 좋아했지만 그 어감에서 드러나는 단어가 너무 좋더라고요. 그래서 구슬 이렇게 하다가 구슬이라는 게 비싸지도 않으면서 쉽게 볼 수 있는데 그러면서도 조금 투명하고 예쁘고 이래서 제 자신이 그런 존재가 되고 싶은 그런 생각을 하면서 항상 좀 이렇게 햇빛에 구슬을 투명해 보면 그 안에 뭔가가 들어있잖아요. 빨간색이 들었든 파란색이든 주황색이든 그래서 마치 안을 들여다보면 그 안에 꿈이나 어떤 희망이나 이런 것들이 담겨 있지 않을까 그런 생각들을 하면서 그 이름을 지었던 것 같아요.
All right, please.
Yes, so she mentioned she adopted the nickname 꿈꾸는 구슬, dreaming marble, a long time ago. She says she has always liked marbles, not only as objects but also the sound of pronouncing the word 구슬. So marbles as objects are not very expensive and can be easily found anywhere, yet they're transparent and beautiful. So she thought of wanting to become a presence like a marble herself. Also, when she project the marbles in the sunlight, you see something inside them, like the shades of red, blue, or orange. And looking at those colors, she says she thought that there might be dreams or hopes contained within the marbles. So since then, she referred to herself as 꿈꾸는 구슬 and even adopted it as her artistic name.
And also, Kusu kind of brings us, back to like kind of nostalgic flashbacks or something, right? And I thought, it was a very cute nickname, but I had no idea it has such like a deep meaning. So it makes me rethink about marbles again. And after her child declaration of the independence, like I wonder, where 꿈꾸는 구슬 or dreaming marble like rolled to and what path she followed.
So she lives in the outskirts of Namonup area, and to fill the past 10 years of lost experiences that she had, she says she has been studying and learning to live a life of self-fulfillment. So she has been drawing steadily since her child went through a difficult time. And during that period, she also started writing as well. So she continues to pursue both drawing and writing. And these days, she's investing more time in expanding those activities as well.
So it seems like, art becomes something like people, turn to like when life gets tough. And it looks like drawing played a significant role in her life.
Yes. And let's hear directly from her about her relationship with art and drawing.
Great.
미술 전공을 하기는 했거든요. 근데 졸업을 못했어요. 경제적인 사정으로 해서 못하니까 그림에 대한 열망은 오래전부터 가지고 있었던 것 같아요. 그리고 그 아이가 아프기 한 몇 년 전에 시간이 조금 있을 때 일러스트 아카데미에 이제 등록을 해서 수채화도 배우고 펜으로 드로잉도 많이 하고 그런 일련의 과정들을 이제 밟아가면서 종이 한 장, 연필 한 장, 펜 하나 이렇게 있으면 어디든지 그림을 그릴 수 있는 그런 것들이 주어지더라고요. 그래서 그때부터 시간이 있으면 끄적끄적 거리는 것들을 꽤 오랜 시간 해왔고요. 그래서 전시했던 것들이 다 그런 과정 중에서 전시를 해왔었고요. 아이가 아프고 나서도 그 전시를 이제 좀 하려고 노력은 했었어요. 왜냐하면 어딘가에 집중하지 않으면 제가 또 많이 힘들어지니까 전업 작가처럼 활동을 하지 못했던 건 아이가 아픈 걸로 인해서 제가 에너지를 너무 딴 데 분산할 수가 없더라고요. 그런 시간들을 지나고 3년 전에 이제 선언을 하고 제주로 넘어온 거죠.
Okay, please.
Yes, so she mentioned that she majored in fine arts during college. However, she said she wasn't able to graduate, which has always bothered her. And that was due to the financial constraints. She took a break from her studies with the intention of returning, but life didn't move according to how she had planned. Various things happened, and at some point, the opportunity to go back to school had disappeared. But the desire for art was always been there for her. Even before her child became ill, she says she enrolled in an illustration academy in Daegu, learning watercolor and pen drawing. From there, she progressed to the point where she could draw with just a pen and a pencil. Pen and a paper. Yeah. And she said she has been doodling for quite a long time whenever she had free time. So these sketches accumulated, leading to art exhibitions. After her child's illness, she felt the need to focus on something herself, and that turned out to be art. However, becoming a full-time artist was challenging because she had to take care of her child. But after going through this series of experiences and coming to Jeju 3 years ago, it was then when she said she was able to fully concentrate on drawing.
I mean, at a glance of this, her pictures on the screen, looks amazing. So, if she majored in art, was it her childhood dream to become a painter?
So she actually introduced herself as someone who has many things that she wants to do. She likes singing, she enjoys sports, and even has an interest in languages such as English and Chinese, and is learning them all. So she said she loves learning and wants to be someone who learns throughout life. Currently, she has joined the Jeju a cappella team to learn a cappella, and is also learning the traditional Korean instruments, the pungmulnori.
I love that.
And while doing all this, she expresses her experiences through art and writing as well. And she said that the 10 years of her life that were put on hold due to her child, the emptiness during that period is now being filled as she learns and grows.
So, I mean, she has been like constantly, like exhibiting her works.
Yes. So she said she has started exhibiting with a pen drawing team in Sajikdong in 2016. Then in 2017, she mentioned she held an art exhibition at a 4D gallery cafe in Samcheongdong, Seoul, together with her younger sister, who is also majoring in fine arts. So her sister is currently working as a professional artist and has had a significant impact on her return to the drawing. In 2018, the two sisters held another joint exhibition. They shared a studio and created art together. And in 2018, they even won an award at the Daegu Tourism Association's drawing contest.
Wow. I mean, when listening like this, life can begin at any time, right? So despite mentioning that she couldn't pursue her, path of a full-time artist, she has constantly organized exhibitions. I mean, on top of that, like having a sister working in the same field must have been like strong support for her.
Yes. And she also mentioned when she took a break from art school, she said her younger sister continued drawing. So the feeling that she actually had about her sister, she said, was both impressive, and on the other hand, she really envied her as well. However, she said her sister became a great inspiration for her, offering support during difficult times and taking care of her child together. And thanks to her sister, she said she could continue drawing. And according to her, her sister is not just a sibling, but also a colleague as well.
Yeah, exactly. So while reviewing the materials for today's interview, I took a glimpse into, the type of drawing she creates, like I mentioned. I mean, her exhibited work at the Halla Library Lounge, caught my eyes. So, I mean, there were warm depictions, of Jeju landscape, much like the warmth in their nickname, marble, like dreaming marble, right?
So she mentioned the recent article she read about an entertainer named Shin Dong-wook, who appeared on the drama 낭만 Dr. Kim Sa-bu, the Doctor Romantic. The actor had suffered from a rare disease called CRPS, Complex Regional Pain Syndrome, for 14 years. And he endured excruciating pain and could not survive without narcotic painkillers. So reading about his struggle, she said it deeply moved her. And he revealed his illness not to spread despair, but to provide hope for those going through tough times. So this reminded her of the time when her child's life was at stake. And she reflected on how precious life is. So she realized how valuable every moment is and thought that if she could infuse these feelings into her art and writing, her works might emit a small light, and hoped her creations can be a gentle comfort to someone.
Yeah, that makes sense now. So her works indeed radiate a subtle yet warm feelings. And I mean, did Jeju Island also serve as such materials for her?
So she mentioned being from a rural background, although she moved to Daegu during elementary school, she always missed the countryside. Even while living in Daegu, she says she deliberately sought out and searched for places with sceneries that resemble the sceneries of her childhood neighborhood, and drew those sceneries as well. So she says she drew neighborhoods in Daegu with old alleys, which are now gone due to urban regeneration projects. Even though those alleys have disappeared, she focused on drawing old stores and alleys, thinking about how those nostalgic scenes might vanish someday. So when she came to Jeju, she started drawing the landscapes, capturing the precious scenes that might one day, change and in the future.
So she's been drawing a worn and cherished things, like objects and things like that. And I've heard she's currently holding an exhibition, at the Jeju Folklore and Natural History Museum. I mean, could you tell us more about that?
Yes. So let's hear about that directly from her first.
Okay.
그 한라 도서관에서 전시를 했을 때 저의 모든 것들을 좀 보여드리고 싶다. 이래서 제가 3년 동안 했던 거의 대부분의 작품들을 가지고 나왔다고 보면 되는데요. 그렇게 이제 하고 나니까 조금 두서가 없다는 생각이 좀 들더라고요. 그래서 이번에는 조금 테마를 가지고 이제 전시를 하고 싶다는 생각을 하면서 제주에 살면서 하루에 3만 보 이상 걸으면서 바다에 앉아서 바다를 그리고 이 과정들을 하면서 그 전에 제 안에 쌓여있던 울분이나 나는 왜 이런 불행을 가져야 해? 라는 이런 질문에 대한 것들에 대해서 계속 생각하면서 걷고 조금씩 풀어냈던 것 같아요. 그때 만났던 바다들이 저한테는 엄청 위로가 되고 그런 위로의 바다를 조금 그려보고 싶다는 생각이 들어서 이번에는 바다 그림을 굉장히 많이 그렸어요.
Please.
Yes, so currently she's exhibiting at the Jeju Folklore and Natural History Museum, the Baengriwa. She mentioned that when she exhibited at Halla Library, she wanted to showcase everything she had created during her 3 years in Jeju.
Yeah.
However, looking back, she felt that the exhibition lacked some order. And that's why for this exhibition, she decided to choose a theme. And her focus became the Jeju Sea. While pondering about accumulated grievance during the challenging period of taking care of her child and questioning why misfortune had befallen her, she says she found solace in looking and drawing the Jeju Sea.
Nice.
She says she walked almost 30,000 steps daily
Wow.
and repeatedly paused to draw the sea. The seas she encountered during those moments became a tremendous source of comfort for her, and she wanted to showcase these seas in her exhibition.
Wow, I could feel like how desperate she was. Until when is the exhibition running?
So the exhibition is currently ongoing, and you can visit until January 15th.
I'd love to go and see. So does she occasionally make surprise visits?
So we actually met her at the exhibition space for the interview, and after looking at her drawings together, we moved to another location. But if you're lucky, you might spot the artist in the exhibition space
That
as well.
sounds great, exciting. We've been talking about the artist Kim Kyung-suk and, living on Jeju, drawing and writing. I'm curious about, what she envisions, accomplishing in the future since she declared, independence and, moved to Jeju 3 years ago.
Yes, so while drawing, she says she developed the desire to express herself more concretely, prompting her to start writing as well. And she's currently studying writing, but she mentioned that the more she writes, the more challenging it becomes. According to her, writing is more difficult than drawing. Nevertheless, she wishes to combine both writing and drawing to create works. She mentioned that this is her aspiration and plan. Additionally, she mentioned that her child is currently active in a university band and is doing well.
Nice.
So experiencing various aspects of life. So for her, she said, living her own life sincerely, she wants to be a role model for her child, showing how wonderful life can be. So like that, she said her child seems to enjoy learning as well. So she plans to achieve even more in the future with her child following in her footsteps.
So looking forward to her next creations. Finally, please tell us about, the places on Jeju she recommended.
So let's hear that from her first.
Great.
저희 집 근처에 물령아리라고 있어요. 사려니 숲에서 많이 멀지 않은 곳에 있는데 사람들도 많이 찾지 않고 또 좀 조용하기도 하고 처음 입구에서 들어가면 그 넓은 벌판이 보이고 또 조금 더 들어가면 원시림이 있고 또 조금 더 들어가면 삼나무가 숲이 있고 굉장히 이렇게 다양한 풍경들을 그 둘레를 돌다 보면 만나게 되더라고요. 그래서 그 풍경들을 보고 만끽하고 가는 걸 저는 굉장히 좋아하는데요. 한 2시간 정도면 둘레를 돌실 수 있거든요. 그러니까 산책하기도 딱 좋은 시간이고 많이 힘들지도 않으면서 다양한 풍경들을 볼 수 있어서 저는 불령아리를 굉장히 추천해드리고 거기가 저의 최애 산책길이라고 말씀드릴 수 있어요.
All right, please.
Yes, so she recommended a place called 물령아리, which is near her home. It's not far from the 사려니 숲 forest, and she described it as a quiet place since not many people visit there. And as you enter 물령아리, she said you'll see a wide field, then a primeval forest, and farther in, there's a cedar tree forest. So exploring around, you can encounter various landscapes. She said it takes about 2 hours to complete the course, offering a pleasant walk with easy trails, allowing you to enjoy diverse scenery. So she mentioned this is her favorite walking trail and wanted to recommend it for our listeners.
Wow, 물령아리 얼음, I mean, seems to have like its own charm. A lot of like even reporters kind of recommended this 물령아리 얼음. Have you been there?
No, but I will have to try.
Okay, but anyway, it's been really interesting to listen to her story. You know, another Humans of Jeju. But anyway, have a nice rest of your day.
Oh, thank you.
We've got only 1 hour left. Yeah, I'm gonna, I'm looking forward to the next Humans of Jeju next week.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the segment. If you're curious to find out more about Jeju, we encourage you to go check out our website at arirangradio.com/Wonders of Jeju, or you can check out our Facebook page at Wonders of Jeju, as well as our Instagram account at WOJ_Arirang. We are going to take you on a journey to learn more about what's happening on this island.